The midnight shift at McDonald's. I should never have gone back. I should have let it fade into the past, left the memories buried where they belonged. But like a cursed relic, some things demand to be unearthed. This is the story of a place I used to work, where the golden arches weren't just a logo, they were a warning. And the shift I'll never forget wasn't just a late-night job at McDonald's, but something far worse. I used to work at a McDonald's on a quiet corner of town. Not many people came in after midnight. The restaurant was tucked away between two dilapidated buildings, almost forgotten by time. But for some reason I ended up there after hours, well past the time when the lights should have been turned off. They told me I was doing a favor for the manager, who was too busy to work the late shift. Looking back, I should have asked why no one else had volunteered. They told me about the curse. A joke, they said, but you could see it in their eyes. The other employees, all veterans of the night shift, would talk about the midnight special in hushed voices. It wasn't a menu item. It was a time, an hour that came and went when the air itself felt different. That time was marked by silence. No customers. No sounds of the grill sizzling. Just an oppressive stillness, the kind that sets your teeth on edge. One night, my curiosity got the better of me. The manager had left for the night, the last employees filed out, and I was alone. Alone, but not quite. The clock ticked over to midnight. At first it was subtle. A flicker of the lights above me, a chill in the air that couldn't be explained by the AC. I tried to shake it off. I reminded myself it was just a place, just a job. But then the whispers started. I thought I was hearing things. Maybe it was the wind creeping through the cracked window or a distant car's engine, but the voices, they didn't sound like they were coming from outside. They sounded like they were in the room with me. Not just one voice, but many, murmuring in a language I couldn't understand. Soft, like the rustle of a newspaper or the shuffle of feet. I called out, trying to convince myself I was just tired, but the words caught in my throat. My skin began to crawl, an icy sensation creeping up my spine. I should have left. I should have locked the doors, turned off the lights, and never looked back. But I didn't. I stayed. The clock struck 12. And that's when the doors slammed shut. The jingling of the door chimes was replaced by a heavy, muffled silence. The air grew thick, suffocating. I tried to move, but my legs wouldn't respond. The walls seemed to close in on me, pressing against my chest with a weight I couldn't bear. Panic surged, but I was paralyzed, unable to scream, unable to even breathe properly. It felt as though something was watching me. Something old. Something ancient. In the corner of my eye, a shadow moved, slithering, sliding across the floor. It wasn't right. It was wrong. Too long. Too fluid. My mind screamed at me to leave, but my body wouldn't cooperate. It was like the building itself had a hold on me, pulling me deeper into its grip. The golden arches, the symbol that once seemed so innocent, now felt like a mocking omen. The last thing I remember before I lost consciousness was the sound of footsteps. Slow, deliberate. And then, nothing. When I woke, it was 2:47 a.m. The restaurant was empty again. The lights flickered overhead, but the air was still. The door was unlocked. But as I stumbled outside into the cold night air, I felt it. The weight of 1,000 eyes watching, waiting. The whispers, those same voices, followed me. The next night I came back. Something told me I wasn't done with it. That's the curse, you see. It lures you back even when you know you shouldn't go. And that was the last mistake I made. Because after that shift, I couldn't leave. I couldn't escape. Before we go any further, if you're feeling uneasy, if you're questioning whether you should even continue reading, then listen carefully. This story isn't just a tale. It's something else. There's a reason this story feels wrong to you. You've been drawn into it now. And I urge you, subscribe to this channel. Not for the sake of entertainment, but because what's coming next, you'll want to be prepared. Trust me, the nightmare is far from over. But are you ready to face it? I should have run that night when I first felt the dark presence behind me, breathing just a little too close, whispering things I couldn't understand. But I didn't. I kept coming back night after night, thinking I could shake it, convince myself it was all just my imagination. I never did. You won't either. No one ever does. It was on the 7th night that I realized the truth. The midnight special wasn't just an hour, it was a ritual. A hunger, something that fed on fear, on lost souls, on the ones who couldn't let go. And as I walked back into the restaurant that fateful evening, I knew deep down that the golden arches weren't just a logo. They were a doorway. I didn't know what I had awakened. I'm telling you this because I know you'll feel it now. I know you can sense it, lingering in the dark corners of your mind. That thing I awoke, it isn't gone. It's with you. It's aware of you now. The moment you listened, the moment you even heard this story, it was already too late. The night was colder than usual. The air in the restaurant was thick and oppressive, like the whole building was holding its breath. I set to work, but my hands trembled as I wiped down the counters. The deep fryer hummed louder than usual, its heat radiating through the small kitchen like an angry pulse. And then the lights flickered just once. A sharp, violent blink. I knew what was coming. I felt it. My heart began to race, but I couldn't run. The door slammed shut again. Not just shut. It locked. There was no way out this time. And the whispers, oh, the whispers. They were louder now. A low, guttural growl mixed in with the voices, as if something was crawling beneath the floorboards, breathing in my ear. I tried to shout. I tried to scream, but nothing came out. My throat closed up, choked with the overwhelming sense of dread that filled the air. And then I saw it. In the corner of the dining area, no longer the comforting space of tables and chairs, but a dark, suffocating pit, I saw a figure. A silhouette. Tall, thin, its outline constantly shifting like smoke twisting in on itself. It wasn't human. At least it didn't feel human. The creature watched me. Not with eyes, but with a presence. A feeling like the weight of 1,000 dead things bearing down on me. Its shadow stretched across the walls, the golden arches casting a sickly glow around it. And then, it spoke. "Do you remember me?" The words came not from its mouth, but from everywhere, from inside my head, from the walls, from the very air around me. The room began to shrink as if the walls themselves were closing in, drawing me toward it. The whispers grew louder, swirling together, merging into a cacophony of voices. "Do you remember the deal?" The deal. I hadn't understood it at first, but now it was clear. The midnight special was never just about the time. It was about something far darker. A pact, a curse that had been forged long before my time. The McDonald's I worked at was built over something ancient, something hungry. The cursed land, steeped in ritual, drew in those who had nowhere else to go. The broken souls, the lost ones. The ones who worked there too long, stayed too long, and in the end were consumed. The creature stepped forward, its shape now fully formed, a grotesque mockery of a human. Its skin was stretched too thin like the peeling surface of old rotten meat. Its hands, long bony fingers, scratched against the floor, dragging like claws over the tile. "Your soul is part of the meal. You too must feed." I tried to back away, but my legs wouldn't obey. It wasn't just fear anymore. It was something worse. Something that forced me to stay. I was paralyzed, my body trembling uncontrollably as the creature drew closer. I could feel it now, the hunger in the air, filling my lungs with suffocating dread. It wanted me. It needed me. And then, just as I thought I was going to lose myself completely, the lights blinked again. This time they went out completely. The world plunged into total darkness. But the whispers didn't stop. In fact, they grew louder, more frantic, more desperate. I felt something moving at my feet, slithering, crawling, dragging itself toward me. Something cold and slick brushed against my skin. I tried to scream, but it felt like the sound was swallowed by the darkness, devoured by the very air itself. And then, just as suddenly as it all began, the creature was gone. The room returned to its mundane state, silent, still, and empty. But I wasn't alone. I could feel it lurking in the corners, watching, waiting. And as I stumbled toward the door, I realized I could never escape. No matter where I went, no matter how far I ran, it would follow me. The curse had marked me as it marks everyone who steps into that place. You're not alone anymore either. Because you heard it. You've listened to this story, and that means you've invited it in. It's already with you, watching from the shadows, breathing down your neck. Maybe you'll hear the whispers tonight. Maybe you'll feel the air grow colder. Or maybe it's already inside your home, waiting for the moment to strike. You've been warned. The midnight special doesn't end with a single soul. And now it's coming for you. The nightmare is far from over. I'll leave you to your thoughts. But know this, it's not over. Not for me. Not for you. If you want to know more, if you really want to know, subscribe now. Because the story, it's just begun.